Hello, this is Mrs. Ross, and this is Lesson 24, Reducing Fractions Part 2. These are the starred problems for Written Practice 24, and you can find these on page 172 in your Saxon Course 2 textbook. Let's go ahead and get started. Number 3 says, in the following statements, write the percent as a fraction. So this is our first step. Then draw the diagram, second step, and answer the questions. Third step. All right. Ashanti went to the store with $30 and spent 75% of the money. So my first step is supposed to make this into a fraction. And remember, percent is per 100. So let's go 75% to 75 per 100. And I can reduce this if I divide by 25. 75 divided by 25 is 3. 100 divided by 25 is 4. So I have my fraction, okay? Then it says to draw the diagram. So here's my box, and I'm going to need 4 parts. I always go with the denominator. And let's see, 3/4 she spent. And then 1/4 not spent. Okay. So she had $30 total. So if I divide 30 by 4, it's not going to go evenly. I get 750. So each one of these is 750. Okay. So now that we've drawn the diagram, we can answer the question. So it says, what fraction of the money did she spend? She spent 3/4. How much money did she spend? So 750 plus 750 plus 750, which is 2250. Let's go ahead and change colors here. If the diameter, so let's stop there because I want to draw what a diameter looks like. I don't want to picture it in my mind because I might get it wrong. That's a diameter of a wheel is 1 yard. So this is 1 yard. Then the radius, so radius we know is half, right? So this is a radius and this is a radius, is how many inches? So the first thing we have to do is we have to go 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. And 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So if 1 foot is 12 inches, 3 feet is 3 times 12, which is 36 inches. So I know this whole thing is 36 inches, the diameter. But I've got to find the radius. So I'm going to divide the diameter by 2. And I get 18 inches. Write a statement telling how you know your solution to A is correct. So I kind of showed it all here. There. Okay. Nancy descended 30 steps that led to the floor of the cellar. 1/3 of the way down, 1/3, she paused. How many more steps were there to the cellar? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to cut this into 3s. There are 30 total steps, so this is 10, 10, and 10, because I divided 30 by 3. 1/3 and 2/3. So it says, how many more steps were there to the cellar door? They still have 20 steps because she paused when she was 1/3 of the way down. Prime factorization, not my favorite. We're going to do something different. So what I can do here is I can get rid of the zeros and make this 54 over 60. Does 6 go into 54? Let's check. It does. So let's divide both by 6, because why not? 6 times 9 is 54. I should have remembered that, but it is morning. And 9 over 10. And this is as far as it goes. That's it. So we don't even have to mess with the prime factorization thing. We just have to divide until we can divide no more. And then this says, what is the greatest common factor, GCF it's often called, of 540 and 60? So this is where I'm going to have to actually factor it out. So 540 and 600, and I need to give myself some space. So I have 1 and 540. I have 2, and I don't know what 540 divided by 2 is, but I know that it's divisible by 2 because it's even. 270. 3, 540 is 180. Is it divisible by 4? I think so. Yeah. 4 and 135. 5, yes, because it ends in 0. 5 and 108. 6, yes, we figured that out. That was, I think it's 90. 540 divided by 6 is 90. Yep, that's what I thought. 6 and, I'm running out of room, 90. Let's see, 7. I don't think it's divisible by 7. It's not. I don't think it's divisible by 8. It's not. I know it's divisible by 9. 9 and 60, so I'm going to have to put that down here. 10 and 54. Oh, let's see. Divided by 11. Nope. Divided by 12. Oh, it does divide by 12. So I have 12 and 45. 540 divided by 13? No. 540 divided by 14? No. 540 divided by 15? Oops. 540 divided by 15? That works. So 15 and 36. Okay. 540 divided by 16? Oh, it's divisible by 18. So 18 and 30. Oops. Escape. I'm not sure how far. We're just going to go up to 9. Oh, that's 30. 540. I'm going to pause this and go ahead and do the factors outside of this, and then we'll figure the greatest common factor. So hold on a minute. When we come back, you're going to see a whole lot of numbers on the page. Okay, so now you can see all of the factors of 540 and the factors of 600. It took me a while to figure that out. Let me find a different color so that I can circle all of the ones that are the same. So 1, 2, 3, same. 4, 5, 6, same. There is no 9, 10, 12, 15, same, and then 20. So it looks like 20 is going to be the GCF. Now, this took me probably a good 3 minutes to 5 minutes to do, dividing out until I couldn't divide anymore. So maybe there is something to the prime factorization when you're talking about GCF. Maybe we should have done it that way, because you can do it using prime factorization. Okay, speaking of, the prime factorization of 100 is 2 to the third times 5 to the third. Write the prime factorization of 10,000 using exponents. And I have a hypothesis. I think that you have as many exponents as you have zeros. So I think it's 2 to the fourth and 5 to the fourth, but we're going to do it and see if my hypothesis is correct. So let's do 100 times 100, because I'm pretty sure that's 10,000. Yep, and then we'll do 10 times 10, because we're trying to factor until we have primes. It doesn't take long to get there. Okay, so let's see if my hypothesis was correct. 1, 2, 3, 4 2s, so 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, and then I have 4 5s. I was right. So I think it's just the number of zeros that you have if it's like a 10. That's how many exponents you have. And then prime factorization of the square root of 10,000. So the square root of 10,000 I found right here. It's 100 times 100. 2 in the house, you take 1 out, so it's a prime factorization of 100, which is 2525. And my hypothesis is that I can take these numbers and I can divide these exponents by 2, and I'll get the prime factorization of the square root. So that would be 2 to the 2 and 5 to the 2, because 4 divided by 2 is 2. But let me see if I'm correct. So I have 1, 2, so that's right, and 1, 2, so that's right. So that's my answer there. All right, perimeter of a square is 1 yard. And we know from a previous problem that that's 36 inches. So my perimeter is 36 inches. Let me find out how much each side is, okay? So 4 divided into that is 9 inches. So let's go ahead and label our square. And then, of course, the first question is how many inches is each side? 9 inches. And then what is the area of the square? We know area is length times width, which is 9 times 9, which is 81 inches squared. All right, here we have 10 to the 5th divided by 10 to the 2nd. And we know if we have the same base, we subtract. And we're dividing, we subtract. If we're multiplying, we add. So 5 minus 2 is 3. Square root of 9 minus the square root of 4 squared. So square root of 9, 3 times 3, you take 1 out. So square root of 9 is 3 minus, and here I have 4 squared. 2 in the house, you take 1 out. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. All right, 100 minus 66 2/3. We're going to have to borrow here. So we'll borrow 1 from 100. And I want it to match the denominator here. So 3 over 3 is 1. 99 and 3 over 3 is 100, so I haven't really changed the problem. 3 minus 2 is 1/3. 9 minus 6 is 3. 9 minus 6 is 3, and that's it. Percent. 5 and 1/8 minus 1 and 7/8. Again, I'm going to have to borrow 1. So I take the 1 away, and then I add it over here. Keeping in mind I want this denominator, okay? So that gives me 4 and 9/8 minus 1 and 7/8. 9 minus 7 is 2. 4 minus 1 is 3, and I need to divide by 2 here to reduce that. So my 3 stays the same. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, so this squared is going to be 5/6 times 5/6, which is 25 over 36, and that can't be reduced. I think they want us to reduce this ahead of time, and I know that that's difficult. Let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and multiply it, show you what it is, and then I'll reduce it. Yeah, let's do that. 3 times 1 is 3, times 8 is 24. 4 times 2 is 8, times 9 is 72. And then if I'm going to reduce this, let's see, I think 8 will go into both of them. So this is going to be 3, and this is going to be 24 divided by 8 is 3, and 32 divided by 8 is 9. Is that right? Yeah. And then I'm going to have to divide by 3. Because that's not as far as it goes. 1/3. So let's see if I can get that by reducing ahead of time. Okay, so 3 goes into 9. So I'm going to divide 3 by 3 and I get 1, and I divide 9 by 3 and I get 3. So I have 1/4 times 1/2 times 8 over 3. Okay, and then I'm going to change colors. Okay, and I'm going to do 8 and 4. So if I divide this by 4, I get 1, and if I divide this by 4, I get 2. So I have 1 over 1 times 1 over 2 times 2 over 3. And I can do this again. Okay, so then I have the 2's that I can cancel. If I divide by 2, I get 1. I divide by 2, I get 1. So I have 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. 1 times 1 times 3, which is 3. Okay. We don't have time to do this one. That's 20. But it says find the perimeter at the right, and then how did you find the missing measures? I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and I'll make an auxiliary, like 1-minute video to tell you how to do that one. Okay? So see you in just a second.